Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Bell Ringers podcast with yours truly, Ryan McDonald.
And I'm Ty Press.
Get into the finale of season 2 of The House of the Dragon today. The episode "The Queen Who Ever Was," a little play on words with "The Queen Who Never Was."
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Geeta Vasant Patel. She also directed episodes from season 1, episode 8, and season 2, episode 3, and obviously this episode. Written by Sarah Hess, who wrote 2 episodes in season 1, episodes 5 and 9, and then also episode 2 of this season. It's a little bit more. They've not done battle episodes, so I think that was a little hint that we were not going to get a big battle this episode. But
Yeah,
they've
one
done.
could have looked into that.
Yeah. I kind of just, with everyone's like getting upset there was no battles this episode, I was like, they clearly never watched Game of Thrones like live. Because
Yeah,
anyone that watched the show live knew that the last episode of every season, I mean, last season was a little bit different where the fact we got like
the
Luke
Vagar and
dying. Yeah, which
Arax
wasn't
fight.
really even like a battle, but it was a death. But like
It was a, it was the biggest thing we got that
yeah,
season for sure.
but like
So that was
every
obviously misleading,
yeah
but
every season of Game of Thrones we've ever seen has always been like the ninth episode or the second to last episode being the most like the bigger like the fights, the battles, and
hmm
everything like that, and then like the final episode is just like working up to what's gonna happen the next season.
yeah, the final episode has been a lot of putting pieces together and prepping where we're gonna be seeing our characters the following season, and
Yeah,
like it's just like setting the next season in motion without like
yeah, because like a lot of it's like there's not I mean there's dragons in this, but there's no planes. Like these people have to ride on horseback to go places. So like it's like if you're just gonna say they're gonna go from point A to point B in a day, or if you're just gonna skip over all that time, it gets a little annoying. That's what a lot of people even complained about in the last season of Game of Thrones. It moved too fast and it didn't make sense.
right, exactly. And just to throw it out there now, there's been a lot of complaints about this finale, and it's like I said, it's because there you didn't get that big action. And overall in the season, we went into this season based on how season one ended, thinking that we were gonna get the war.
Yeah,
We got battles of it, we got like bits of war, but seeing this finale, like really prepping the war, I think rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because they realized that they didn't get the war that they're expecting to get when they saw the end of season
yeah,
one, and when they looked in like Rhaenyra's face, like everyone was like, "She's about to go off.
yeah,
It's about to go down. Like we're getting it all season two." But like you said, that has been everybody's complaint about how Game of Thrones ended. Was they felt like they rushed everything. It
yeah,
wasn't the same Game of Thrones where they used to have long, drawn out conversations,
yep,
and from getting from point A to point B, you'd get a lot of good content from these two conversations. Which I think House of Dragons is doing a great job, and it's gonna piss people off because it's House of Dragons. We accept or expect so much intensity,
yeah,
but they're taking note of what everyone was pissed off about, and they're
yeah,
gonna stretch it out. They're gonna build characters, and they're gonna give characters arcs
yeah,
that we were mad they kind of stopped doing at the
yeah.
end of Game of Thrones.
And like we know now we're getting 4 seasons and that's gonna be it. It's gonna get 2 more seasons and like kind of the idea is like if they kind of rush everything, they'd only get 3 seasons, which I mean they're gonna make more money by having four. That might be one of
Right.
the reasons. But also like I like that they did this. It's like I wouldn't want season 2 to start and then just constantly go into war. It's like, all right, well, how did like the green side get like these families to join them? How did like oh wait, like the blacks have like the Starks with them? Like how did that happen? Like if we
Right.
didn't get all these episodes of like them going out and like getting supporters and stuff like that, it wouldn't be as meaningful because we need to meet
And
these characters and actually have a reason to feel sad when they die.
the subtle moves that were made, we got the reactions, and we got the recoil effect of what happens when these
Yeah,
types of things happen. Like with like the early on Jaehaerys Aegon's son dying, we got not only the great episode after of Aegon being just like devastated and heartbroken, but then we still got the rat catchers. The rat catchers stayed up. It was like leading to
yeah,
weird and like the blockade being like the blockade happening, watching the starvation grow of all
yeah,
the small folk led that to being a big factor
yep,
in near the end of the season. Like they showed the like rise and fall of
yeah,
the decisions that are being made, and I loved it. Like
yeah,
I
and
think
like
they're doing it
yeah,
well.
and like the small folk getting disgruntled, and like also like we met Ulf, Adam, and Hugh that became like dragon riders. Like if they just showed that in episode 2 where they became dragon riders and we're all like who the fuck are these guys?
Right. If they just pulled like two bastards out of the Dragon Seas that we don't know anything about, and they just won, you're like, Like, who the fuck is this guy? Like,
Yeah.
why should I care about him?
Yeah.
Rather, we got the backstories slowly, not rushed the episode before.
Yep.
We got snippets of their backstory leading up to it, which is like
Yeah.
I said, that's how you want a show to work.
And I mean, with all that being said, I mean, all the armies are in position. They're all marching. So like next season is definitely going to start out with a lot of fight right in the beginning, and probably have a
Right.
lot for most of the season. And then I'm assuming season 4 is probably going to be like the end of that and what happens after. But as we go into this episode, we did get a new addition to the tapestry. It looks like it kind of depicts like the red sewing, and like it almost has like a line going up it where it's like showing like a divide and like the dragons on each side. I thought that was kind of cool. It's the first.
Mhm.
I knew like they had to do that. It's the first one we've gotten. It's actually happened right after the episode before it. But just a small little note, and then we start in Essos with Thailand meeting the Triarchy. Get a little
Mhm.
monkey with the CGI background. It looked cool, but it's also like pretty obvious to tell it's just like a green screen
The
behind the
monkey
monkey.
looked fake at first too.
I'm
Like
pretty yeah. I
it
don't know
looked
how
really
much.
nice. It was a beautiful scene to enter this, but like, yeah, like I was like, damn, they just got like this beautiful like monkeys fitting the
Yeah,
color scheme of the background, like landing perfectly. Like it looked like somebody's screensaver
yeah. I think
immediately.
it's just supposed to be like, hey, yeah, these are pirates, and they live in a far off land that's not usually Westeros. You don't see monkeys there, so like this is different.
Yeah, like these are
And
pirates. Why wouldn't they have like pet monkeys running
yeah,
around?
I wish I wrote it down, but like I know because I'm trying to think of like the areas that like the Triarchy is made of. I think one's Lys or Lice. One's like Miria, and I forget the other one. But either way, you have
I
like
have
the
no
two,
clue.
like the three captains of each, or the captain of each, whatever. They
Areas,
start, yeah, they start by saying, oh, like the fee is 100 golden dragons, and like Thailand's per ship, and then they go, no, per man. He's like, whoa, we can't do that. Like
right?
that's too much. And then it seems like the one guy who was actually like, but he goes like, oh, like what like the stepstones, and Thailand's like, oh, well, what about the stepstones?
Mm,
And it's like, oh, give us that, and like we'll recoup our losses by imposing a little small tax on everyone. That was one of the things that was why they fought the Triarchy to begin with. Is like they were just like taking over like the shipping lanes and trying to like impose a bunch of big taxes. But
right.
I've seen some people like say like trying to like group the 100 gold dragons and the stepstones together. I'm pretty sure they're offering that up as like an alternative, being like, oh, like if you can't pay that, just give us the stepstones and we'll get our money back from this war by doing the
Right.
tax and stuff like that.
We'll pay. It'll pay off all the losses we
Yeah,
take from fighting the Valarians.
yeah. But so he kind of agrees to that, and he's like, oh, like the Prince Regent's gonna have my head. To which the one guy says, oh, like with our
With our ships,
ships,
you could have the crown. You could have the throne yourself.
yeah,
And I was like, "Whoa, buddy! Like,
yeah.
I
I
don't
think
know who you're thinking. You don't know who you think you're talking to, but that is not happening."
yeah. I think he's also that's not for me. I'm not doing that. But
Yeah.
then they say, oh, like
Have you not
we,
heard they have dragons out there? Like, what are you saying, dude?
which also like to me is kind of like it's like I get like they have a lot of ships, but like I mean without Rhaenys and Meleys, I gotta imagine they're still gonna put one dragon to like the with like the ships,
Columbus.
because like if a dragon goes out there, it's just gonna burn all the ships. Like I don't know, I have a hard time believing almost any navy can beat even a navy of a smaller size if they have a dragon. Like
Yeah,
it
I
just
mean, put Sea Smoke out there with the Valarian
yeah,
ships, and unless they have just those
scorpions.
scorpions set up on every single Triarchy ship, like they're not winning that battle.
Yeah, exactly. And I doubt they do because I think that's not something they would know to have because they don't usually deal with the dragons as much. Which I mean,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they've learned
I
something with
mean,
the fact that they
they got the
fought
shit kicked out of them by
Yeah,
Caraxes and Sea Smoke.
yeah. So maybe they've thought about that since then. I guess we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But they say, oh, like you need like our Admiral Lohar needs to like agree to go with you. Like if like all the men only follow, and they make sure to mention like say him like
Yeah.
the men need you to follow like need their like leader like basically just keep saying like man he him whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then when Lohar comes out, Tylan kind of turns around and sees it's clearly a woman, and that was a little shocking for him. I don't know if it's kind of like oh like they would only want a man to lead, but they saw her as good enough, so they just kind of call her a
So
man.
right, we're on tender ground here. So in the
Well,
books, it's a man,
yeah,
and the actress or actor who is playing this character, Admiral Lohar, is a transgender.
Yeah, I know that, but
So the fact that they said like he and him, either we have our first transgender this character, like they're making this character transgender in the show, or it's like we just like this they or he is playing a man, and it's just we're seeing a transgender former woman playing now a man playing a man. But to your point though, they do she like there is a scene where she's like, I would have your babies, and
yeah,
Lannister's looking at him saying like, oh, like, and then she goes, you'll have my wives, and
yeah,
then you're like, there's a joke, so they throw a nod at like she clearly looks like a woman, but I'm not sure where like what they're playing there.
yeah. I mean, I think it might just yeah. Who knows?
It's tender ground.
Yeah,
I really don't know what they're going for. I'm going off of they were calling him a him and saying he.
yeah. I think it. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's more like oh, like they think it. Maybe they. Cause I mean, obviously, clearly, like the people that like sail with her clearly can see it's a or like would think it's a woman. So I think it's more just like the idea of like oh yeah, like their admiral's a guy, and then maybe just throw people off.
Yeah, I
But
don't know.
either way, it's short little bit, and then we see Aemon and Vagar over Sharp Point and just burning. Which this is one like
Hmm.
I think they could have made people like this episode more if we just saw that happen.
Yeah, I can understand that for
Like
sure.
if we just saw that
Honestly,
happen, it'd be like, all right, well at least we got a cool dragon like burning people.
yeah. Like I'm like as much as they might be doing this, like I think they could have cut the Thailand stuff, but I think they're doing this because they want Admiral Lohar to be a character. But
Yeah,
like you're saying, if you cut the Lannister and the Triarchy, like we don't need them mud wrestling later on. Like cut some of those
yeah,
scenes. Give us this scene of Vagar and Aemon burning the off Storm
yeah.
Point. That would have been like you said. That's what people were complaining about.
Like I mean, also like I'm not like upset at the Lohar stuff, but I'm a little upset that we got more of Lohar in Thailand than we got of Craig and Stark and Jace. Like
Yeah,
that is, I feel like a much cooler like relationship and like was vastly built on in the books. Like there's a ton of stuff for them to go off of in the books, and we got
yeah.
like 2 minutes of that,
We got robbed of it for sure.
but we got like 10 minutes of Thailand and Lohar. Who are probably not going to be that meaningful of characters.
Hmm.
Yeah,
No, I
but
agree.
and we get Aegon in his bed, a little he's hurting. He wants the maester to put a little rum in his milk of the poppy, a little
Yeah.
spike it a little bit.
Can I get a little rum?
Then Lord Laris walks in, and I don't know if he finishes it or not, or because like we know Lord Laris wants to talk. Like when he talks to him, he wants to talk to him with like a clear mind. He
Hmm.
clearly does drink some, but then the maester leaves the room, and Laris basically just goes, he's like, "Yeah, we need to leave. We need to leave King's Landing now." And like Aegon's like, "What? Like why would I leave? I'm the king." Uh, and basically Laris is like, "Oh, your brother's gonna come back and he's gonna kill you." Like you, and like, this is the first time I think Aegon's like actually seen someone directly say this to him. Like he clearly remembers what happened and all that, but I think he's just hoping that like Aemon's gonna like forget about it. But now that he's having someone else say it to him, like, he's like, "Oh, it's not just me that thinks he's still going to kill me." Like
Hmm.
he probably clearly is. Um, but then Aegon's like, "Oh, like when he gets back, I'll just like I'll go back to my throne and I'll just have him get imprisoned."
And yeah, which Laris immediately shuts down. He's like, Rhaenyra just got 3 more dragons.
Yep.
If you're gonna imprison Aemon, we're gonna lose Vagar. Who the hell is gonna defend the castle?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you're gonna die to Rhaenyra anyway.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, he's like, I moved all of like the gold or most of the gold reserves in Harrenhal, which we already heard about, but we found
Hmm.
out he moved them to the Iron Bank of Bravos, which I think was probably a pretty obvious answer we probably should have known or thought of earlier. But basically, like, oh, like they can,
When we're talking about credit cards.
yeah,
Yeah, that's true. We should have just assumed he brought in Bravos.
yep.
That's fine. I
But
forgot we talked about that.
he said like they can live comfortably while they wait for the war to end and be like, all right, like let's just go wait this out, let the war end, and then you can come over and be like a peacemaker. And then Aegon just goes, "Me cock don't work. I got no
Mhm.
dick anymore." Just getting all upset.
My cock is destroyed. Did they tell you that?
It,
That was
it
great.
burnt like a sausage on the spit or
Yeah.
burst. And Laris is basically he's like, "You're not alone. Like like kind of just like that whole like, thing, like, oh, like we're now both crippled, and like I think Laris has like lived his whole life to like come to terms with this, but Aegon just basically woke up 2 days ago, being like burnt and like crippled, so he's still kind of
Hmm.
like getting over it. But then he starts to kind of like buy into the idea, whereas Laris is kind of being like, oh, like Aegon the Victorious, Aegon the Peacemaker, Aegon the Rebuilder, and then Aegon kind of like look like his eyes like light up and he goes, Aegon the Realm's Delight, which
Hmm.
is what Rhaenyra was called when she was younger. So like I
Yep.
think he's kind of like, I want to be looked at as she was when she was younger by like everyone in the realm and the small folk.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they all like adored her, and he's like, I want that. I want to be like loved and admired by everyone.
Uh-huh. I caught that too. I was gonna say you kind of recognize, like, you remember hearing the Realms Delight, and it sounds weird coming from him. Like that
Yeah,
wouldn't have been what he would have gone to if it didn't have like a meaning prior. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
And he lost his dragon cock, so he can't get by that anymore.
yeah. We get a quick scene after this of Reyna. She finds a river, drinks from it, just scooping water into her mouth.
Yep.
Clearly to assume that, like, since she's straight off the path with the Damon and Rhaenyra's kids, she's been out here for at least like a day or two because she's just like she's going through it.
Yep.
She's, like I said, scooping water into her mouth. Just real quick, we get her a few times in this
Yeah, I
episode.
was to say we could just kind of burst through
Want to knock
all
them
of it.
out now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we get her first scene. We get her scooping water in her mouth. Next scene, she's running and she sees the wild dragon
No,
flying through the sky.
the next one is she's sleeping in the cold.
Oh, she's sleeping. Okay, she's free. Yeah,
Yeah,
sleeping in the
we get
cold.
20 seconds of her sleeping.
Yeah, again.
It's all
But
pointless.
the fact that we've gone back and forth to her 4 times in this episode is insane.
And still no one is looking for her at all,
Yeah.
which still
And
amazes
then
me.
no
Like
search
no
party
one
for the,
cares.
the supposed to be babysitter of these two young infants or young toddlers.
Yep,
But
no one cares.
yeah, then we get her. She sees the dragon flying through the sky, which I think we've already named as Sheep Stealer.
Yeah, well,
Or
it's
titled.
we haven't heard it in the show, but
Right,
everyone's the
but
speculation, everything like that kind of just
yeah,
fits.
it's a wild dragon who steals sheep. We got there on our
Yeah.
own. And the final scene we get of her near the end of the episode is she walks over a hill and sees Sheep Stealer. Eyes go bold. Maybe it's just like it's bigger, or it's, like I said, it's a formidable sized dragon. That's formidable is a number one adjective of dragons nowadays.
Yep.
But yeah, like I said, we're almost led to assume she finally found it. I doubt she's about to get her head bit off from this thing.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have gotten 4 scenes of her chasing after this thing. It's fair to assume that she now is going to claim this wild dragon, which good for her. Awesome, another contribution to Rhaenyra's side. We're just collecting dragons at this point.
It's kind of funny to also see like think about like the differences in like her getting this one and Adam getting Sea Smoke. Like Sea Smoke chased Adam and like got him and they had like the high ground was like peering in at Adam, and then now Reyna or Bela is like running chasing.
No, this is Reyna.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I always get them mixed up. But like Reyna's chasing Sheep Stealer and like tracking him down, and then like she's on the high ground looking down at him. So it's kind of like a complete difference of like who is kind of picking who.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to that point, Sea Smoke was missing out. Was always really claimed by somebody and was like missing.
Yeah.
His boy Laenor, and Sea Smoke is wild. Sea Smoke cannot be bothered with humans. So yeah, that's Reyna's got to seek him out or her out. I'm not sure what the gender of the Sheep Stealer is.
I forget. Well, also like apparently in the books, like dragons can kind of just change their gender if they need to. Like if they're a dude, they can kind of just change to a chick to hatch more dragons. So that's also, no one really knows how genders work with dragons.
Dragons living in 2024.
Yeah. Must be a must be a brave doctor ready to go down there and chop a dragon's dick off.
All right. After this first scene of Reyna, we do get Jace walking up on Ulf and Hugh by their council table. Ulf sitting back with his feet up on the table, and Jace is just not having it with these dragon seeds. Just not a fan at all. Is not taking the disrespect that Ulf's giving him. And yeah, Ulf immediately just goes to like, he's like saying like, "Who's gonna order me, boy?" And he's like, "Yo, dude, that's the prince, son of Queen Rhaenyra." And he gets up. Jace goes like, I think you should apologize, and he runs over, gives him a hug, like scratches his head, says like, oh, look at his hair, dark as they say, and then like constantly is being like, you and me cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
Like, who
Let
would
him
have
tell us
thought?
we don't have Targaryen blood, eh?
Yeah, who would have thought? Look at us.
Yeah.
Just Chase is not about it at all, and yeah, just not. Ulf is never would have thought Ulf would rub me the wrong way so quickly.
Yeah, I'll be
But
honest. I
like,
kind of started to hate him in this episode.
I did too. Like, I'm like, bro, you're sitting in front of the queen, and you're just like, can I get more birds? Like, he's
What?
just being like obnoxious as hell.
And it was more just for me from like this scene itself, because like when he was in the tavern before, like in the pub, he's like, oh yeah, like my whatever, like sister cousin, like Rhaenyra, like she's the rightful queen, and like
My
my
nephew
my
Jace
yeah,
and
like
Viserys.
talks all of them up, and then doesn't even know what he looks like.
Yeah,
Like couldn't even recognize him. It's like, oh, you never really cared. You just cared about telling your story and getting people to like you. It was
yeah,
never about rooting for the right side. It was just for you a way to look good. It's like that's
right.
where it kind of rubs me the wrong way. It's like you never actually cared. You just wanted to look like this cool person. But then Hugh kind of mentions that yeah, Ulf is not much used to manners of the court, but he seems to be fine. So like and like with what we talked about last week with like his parentage and like who his mother is, I wonder
Mm-hmm.
like how long he lived with her and maybe like what she taught of him of like how to like act and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know if maybe just Hugh is just a more well-mannered person typically, or if like he was more taught up by
Yeah.
his mother of like how to act.
I
Is
mean, we're
that
comparing a drunk that hangs out in taverns all day to a hardworking
yeah,
blacksmith who takes
family
care of a
man, yeah,
family.
yeah,
I can kind of see why he was a little
yeah.
more classy
Well,
in
I,
the
I could
formal
see
setting.
I could see why he would understand it better just in general, and he probably has done. He's like he we saw him like go to like
Speak to Aegon.
yeah, speak to Aegon. Like we know he does work for the crown, so like maybe
Hmm.
he just has more interaction, so that's why. But I think there might also be something to be said for like maybe his mother kind of did teach him.
Yeah.
But then Jace kind of scares him away, like with like the news of Sharp He's like, "Will you?" They're talking about how like Vhagar burned it down. He goes, "Will you prepare to face such an enemy, or will you stay here and make yourself easy? If you hinder
Yeah.
our efforts, blah blah blah, I will see you hanged in the streets and fed to the dogs." And this gets all real scared.
Oh
He
yeah.
just kind
I
of
got that quote written down too. That was a great delivery from Jace.
because he just goes right face to face with him,
Hmm.
and just like that almost like pins him up, but like and then off quickly just shuts up and kind of swallows a spit, and then
Hmm.
apologizes, and then Hugh bows, and then Ulf just kind of like looks back and goes, "I don't know what to do," and they both just walk out.
Yeah. She's like, come on, get out of here.
And then we go to Rhaenyra and Corlys at Driftmark, and basically she's like, "Oh, like the ship looks good now," and like but she's like, "Oh, like the Dragon Riders, like it's good that we have them now, but we know little of who they are and what is their strength of character." But like, oh, like you know of Adam of Whole, like, cause like so you know he's good, and Corlys
Hmm.
like which when we saw Rhaenyra meet Adam, she asked him what his parentage is, but this kind of makes me think that she didn't ask them, like Ulf and Hugh, because I feel like Hugh would have just been outright and said, yes, my mother is this person, and she
Hmm.
would right away know. I mean, it kind of seems like Ulf doesn't really know, because it almost seems like more of what he said was like slight story, and he didn't really know if he actually was or not. I mean, he might have just like kept going with like the boasting and stuff like that, and said, oh yeah, I'm the son of this person, so I'm like your cousin.
Yeah.
But I would have so I seems like she didn't ask, and then also we still have yet to get Corlys say that that's his son, which
Right.
I really wonder how long. Because like if he's going out to war, he could die at any moment, and that secret is kind of lost with him. Because as much as Adam might be able to say that that's what it is, can't really get the truth unless Corlys says it himself.
Yeah, and part of me just like with the fact that yeah, Corey's going out to he's like ends up to like, going on a ship. Like I'm worried that we won't get like
Yeah, that's
I
what I mean.
mean
Like
obviously
he's
I don't
going.
know, but he's literally yeah he is sailing out probably to meet the Triarchy.
Yep.
Like the chances that we're gonna get him and Rhaenyra again could be low.
Yeah.
We might not get that confirmed. We might. I mean, I'd hope we get Rhaenyra hears it from Adam like that just to get that kind of like
Yeah.
confirmation back and forth. But like, yeah, I think you're right. I don't know if we're gonna get the confirmation, of course,
Yeah.
because he didn't do it in this moment.
That's what I mean. Like, it also like means more coming from Corlys rather than Adam. Because like
Yeah,
with I mean
absolutely.
Adam seems like he's showing to be like a pretty loyal person, so I don't think we're really gonna have to worry about him. But
Yeah,
like coming from him, like Rhaenyra might just be like, oh yeah, sure, like that maybe that's true. Like it kind of just fits. But like if Corlys says it's obviously art, yeah, that's true. Like
Mm-hmm.
obvious. But then like Corlys is kind of like pushing like, hey, you got this advantage now. You have to go attack. You have to go do this. And Rhaenyra's like, well, I kind of thought like they would just like stop the war if like I got this. And he's like,
Yeah.
and like he kind of like mentions like what we said the last week. Like, do you really think Aemon is gonna stop? Clearly not
Right.
gonna stop. He's going to get angry and going to try and push. And like he might try and get Helena to join. He has a little brother that like they the dragon's a small one. It's probably the size of like I can't think of
Vermax.
Jace's Vermax. So it's not that big, but like he would start to get a little bit more help if like you wait too long. And
Yeah.
Rhaenyra's like, yeah, you're right. I probably should. Um, but he mentions that the sea snake's new name is a queen who never was in honor of his late wife.
Rhaenys.
And
Yeah.
basically
Love that.
like he did everything before for his own like glory, but now he's doing it all just for his wife and
Yes.
her honor. And like he reassures her that like his men sail and fight for her, but like the enemy's also moving, like the Lannisters are moving, like all these armies are moving and getting set up. So the best time to do this is now, before like maybe those battles have to happen. And I think
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the idea is like she's hesitant to like go and use the dragons and like kill possibly innocents and thousands, but it's like if you do this now, probably less people will die because if you can like finish the war before these big fights start like actually happening, then none of
Yeah.
those people have to die.
Like use your dragons, kind of just like show your strength without having like I said. The longer you wait, the more it's drawn out. The more like people versus people battles we're gonna
Yeah,
get. Which literally you can cut that out by showing that you
yeah,
have the number of dragons, and whether it be just go head force on Vagar, you take out like I'm gonna say send a battalion just to target Vagar. You take out Vagar, they have to concede at that
yeah,
point.
yeah. Exactly. There's no way they would keep going.
Like, what's the smartest way to limit the most casualties? Is literally kill Aemon and Vagar.
Yep.
You know, Aegon's bedridden right now. Like, what would they be able to do
Yeah.
after that?
Because like all these
So,
armies are like afraid of fighting without a dragon. Like Jason Lannister like said like I'm not going until like Aemon and Vagar come. But you know
right,
Kristen Cole's scared shitless because of
yeah,
what he saw. So like we know like if you take out their only sense of protection, they're all gonna just lay their swords down and be like I'm done. I'll concede.
right. So,
Uh,
after this encounter, we get Damon in Harrenhal.
yep.
Uh, the one of the guys come up to him saying like their food is limited. Like, how do the dragons fare with pigs?
No,
Damon goes,
they accidentally sent swine instead of sheep.
"Oh, they actually sent swine instead of pig.
Yeah.
I thought they ran out of sheep."
I
Okay,
think well,
so
I think it might have been that, but I think it was like the sheep got sent somewhere else, and I don't know if it was like they accidentally sent swine instead of sheep, or like maybe like you said like they're out of sheep and the sheep got sent elsewhere, so now all they have is pigs.
but worry not, Caraxes prefers pigs anyway. So
Yep.
good for Caraxes. He just hit the jackpot. He's been eating all these sheep when he's like, dude, give me some freaking pork.
Yep.
Give me some bacon. He's getting all the food he wants now. One up for Caraxes. Alfred Broom shows up. And
Finally, it took them three
yeah,
episodes.
literally, yeah. It's the Alfred Broom is the guy from the small council of Rhaenyra who she sends out to talk to Daemon. That was, like Rye said, probably 2-3 episodes ago. And it's the only guy that's taken the actual time period to take the travel.
Yep.
So he finally pulls up in Harrenhal. He's talking to Daemon, asks for a word in private. They go outside, and that's when, or what is his name? I said Alfred. Alfred starts saying to him, like, hey, like, Rhaenyra is too timid. Like, we need a man. We need a king. Now, Rye, here's the part that I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Right when he's about to begin saying all this to Daemon, there's a whisper in the wind of the word traitor.
Okay, no, I thought you meant like something off screen that we didn't know.
No,
I didn't.
so that you can hear traitor in like literally just like through the wind. It said Alfred hears it, turns around and goes, "Did you hear that?" And Daemon goes like, "There's omens in these woods or in these halls if you look for them," something along those lines. So mild spoiler here. Was able to look into this like without really ruining too much. The only thing I'm going to spoil is one person that ends up surviving this whole thing, and it's minor. So Daemon and Rhaenyra's great grandson. Hold on, I got it here. Great grandson is the three-eyed raven before Bran. His name is.
We don't get that for a little while, and you also just did spoil something.
I suppose someone who survives.
Yeah, but that's I don't know.
Again, I don't think it's not like we know one person that's again. I'm going forward here because they kind of show it
Where are you
him
getting
as
in?
a
Are you getting into like the vision?
not right now.
Oh, I see. I see what you're trying to say. You're trying to think. You say like kind of like how Bran like you could hear his
Yeah.
whispers. Okay.
So that guy being the three-eyed raven. I did. Oh, was that what you meant and spoiled it for later on in the episode?
No, but
Okay. Well, anyway, it's the descendant of Daemon and Rhaenyra, this three-eyed raven that was before Bran. He's the one that taught Bran. His name was Lord Brynden Rivers.
Brynden Rivers.
Brynden Rivers, also known as the Blood Raven. Now, we've seen Bran do it in Game of Thrones when he went back in time and saw a young Ned Stark. He like said something, I can't remember the word, but he said something like warning him about like he's about to go fight that like the beast swordsman. And Ned turns around and says like, it's like, what was that? Like, so we know that they can, if they say something to the person, it like kind of like it does travel through. It's a theory, but the fact that the guy before Bran was a descendant of Daemon and Rhaenyra, the fact he says traitor while Alfred is talking about convincing Daemon to kind of like take the lead from Rhaenyra.
Yeah, so maybe he was like rewatching and being like seeing that and be like, oh, like you traitor, you dick.
Like fuck asshole.
I saw some funny memes though, like there's just one account I found on Twitter, it's at spicy noodle boy _. And it's basically just like a meme for Caraxes. And it's basically just during this, like they just like photoshopped like Caraxes' long neck like peering around like the tree, just being like, oi, traitor, just like yelling at him like, hey, don't try. That's my wife.
Don't listen to him, Dad.
That's my wife and her dragon rider you're talking about.
Yeah, I love Caraxes. Honestly, he's become my favorite dragon just from him having to be stuck in Harrenhal. But yeah, so after that, the traitor, like I said, it could be that descendant. Daemon says, "I never took you for a turncloak" to Alfred Broom, and Lord Simon Strong is in the back, hearing this conversation, and we then later find out he immediately sends word to Rhaenyra about the possible treachery.
Yep, could never send a raven the whole time, but now he can.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why it took this long.
Didn't want to say anything about your husband literally losing his mind in this castle for the last 5 days, like just dipping in and out of consciousness. But now that Alfred Brun's talking shit, like, hey, you might want to come over here. There's some shit going down.
And like you said, like Alfred Broom's kind of like, he's like, I'm loyal to like your father or like your brother. I like swore an oath to him, all this stuff. And
he's like, I would never swear to Old Town or any of them.
Yeah.
I'm always gonna be for you guys, but
we need a king.
You should be doing this. Yeah, we need a king, exactly.
And it kind of
bird, I'll let you out, goddamn.
But to me it seems like he kind of like Daemon gives a little bit of a smile and like
sorry, bro. I was just huffing the door.
I was starting to say like it seemed like Daemon kind of like smiled at him, like, because he doesn't say like, oh, like yeah, I'm gonna do that, or like I'm agreeing with you. Like he calls him like, he's like, I never took you for a turncloak.
Fuck.
Like the way like Daemon ends it with like a little smile, I feel like he's kind of like saying like, I can't wait to take your head when I tell Rhaenyra about this deception.
I know.
Which he clearly, like, we'll talk about it later when like the scene comes up, but he clearly gets scared when all that happens.
When she pulls up, yeah.
But then we go to Aemond and Ironrod talking about the new Dragon Riders and how it happened.
That nickname.
Yeah. And
Ironrod. Killer nickname.
It happened with the fact that like they were able to get fishing ships in and like get bastards out. And Aemond's just like, all right, we got to check every boat that comes in, and they're like, that's gonna like ruin a lot of the fishing things that like these like small folk rely on. And Aemond just like, he's like, I don't care. Everyone has to make sacrifices. It's like they've already been making sacrifices. I feel like this scene was more just like to show how little Aemond still cares about the small folk and just like further push that narrative.
Yeah, for anyone that was thinking that Aemond was gonna make a better king than Aegon, me included, I'm starting to think that I may be wrong in that sense. Like he truly is only meant to lead a military and nothing else. Like this dude does not give a shit about the lives of anybody that's not important. Like, at all.
We get Helaena and Alicent Helena says, "I was happier before I was queen," and Allison kind of looks at her, is like, "Yep, same. I was also happy before I was queen."
Yeah, no
Kind of
shit.
sucks. It's not fun. And then Allison's like, "Oh, like, how would you feel about like leaving here and like going elsewhere?" And Helena like gets real like a lot of joy in her eyes, and she's like very perked up. She's like, "Oh, where would I go?" And then
Yeah.
Damon storms in and ruins that moment.
Amen.
And yeah, Aemon storms in, ruins that moment, says the crown is in need of her service, and she needs to fly with Dreamfire or fly on Dreamfire with him to fight at Harrenhal. And she's like, "Well, no, not doing that."
Yeah.
Uh, and then he gets all angry, tries to grab her. He's like, "I wasn't asking." And then Allison kind of gets between him, like separates them. Struggles to separate him, but does. And basically, like, "Are you really gonna do this to your sister? Like, she like her mind's gonna break if you send her out to do this."
Yeah,
'Cause
she's the last like good one of us,
yeah,
and
the
like,
gentlest.
yeah, and he's like, we need her help. And he's like, what good is she if her mind's gone? Like, this will
Yeah,
literally destroy her. She's very like sensitive, and you're gonna make her kill people, and
yeah.
she clearly does not want to.
And he kind of blames Allison. He's like, "These are the consequences of your weakness." Like,
Yeah,
basically saying, like, "Oh, like I wouldn't have to do this if you were better previously," which
right.
just isn't true because like there was really nothing. I mean, she got pushed off of the council and everything she said basically got done the
Yeah, I mean,
opposite
if
of.
yeah, easy. But if it wasn't for your mother, Rhaenyra would be the queen right now, and you guys
Yeah,
would be cupbearers.
I mean, in that sense, it is her fault with that, but like he doesn't even he doesn't even know that
Well,
part.
yeah, he's more looking at it as in like you ruined our reign. When I'm like,
Yeah,
it never
exactly.
would have happened if it wasn't for her. So
And
let's
also
settle
like
down a little
she
bit.
didn't even have like that much say in what happened because everyone just shot her down with every idea.
Right.
But then he storms out. Then she must go visit Master Orwell or Maester Orwell, and
Maester.
she's yeah, nah, yeah, I just messed up the first time. Uh,
Sorry, Ryan. It's all right. You're forgiven.
Thanks. Asks for his help in getting passage, and it just goes, "And I require your discretion."
Hmm.
So basically, like, "Hey, need you to smuggle." Well, I guess we find out what this passage is for later.
Right.
I at first took it as a passage for her and Helena, but we find out later. I think it's her passage to Dragonstone.
Yeah, I immediately had the same exact thought. I thought she was dipping with Helena,
Yeah.
like right then and there. Like clearly, Aemon's a psycho. We got to get out of here.
And then we go into the woods, and Sir Kristen Cole is smelling a boob handkerchief.
Oh yeah, what
So
a scene! Not fully redeeming. Still hate the guy, but
starting to like her
what
more.
a scene by Kristen Cole. Just
Ulf
absolutely.
Ulf stock down this episode. Kristen Cole stock up this
Yeah,
episode.
he did. He definitely did. This scene was awesome. Just the conversations between Gwen and Kristen Cole. He comes in immediately. Yeah, like I said, he catches Cole sniffing the boob rag from Allison and calls him out, saying like, "Have you no honor?" This and other thing. Uh, Cole says his desire for women has brought him grief after grief. This is the quote coming right after this. Perhaps all. So he was talking about like what about like he's like all men are corrupt. What about
Your Kingsguard
your men
man.
of your Kingsguard? Or yeah, he's like saying
And he's
pretty
like,
much
oh, like,
calling him out, saying all your Kingsguard refrain from being with women.
but then he
And he's
basically
like,
he
do
goes,
they?
yeah,
But the quote comes in. He goes, "Perhaps all men are corrupt, and true honor is a mist that melts in the morning." Awesome.
yeah,
Immediately targeting that, and then they go on. He's talking. I think there's like a little in between there talking about like what's to come, and this is when he drops. This is my favorite part of it. The dragons dance, and men are like dust under their feet, and all our fine thoughts, all our endeavors are as nothing. We march toward our annihilation. To die will be a kind of relief, don't you think?
yeah. I really like,
And
yeah, I like that.
that was awesome. Like really, it's really showing that like this dude got effed up as like confident and like just like feeling like the boss as he looked like he was in the beginning. Like he like dude like this eats me up every single day. Like I know what I did is wrong. I know I keep effing up. Like I'm scared shitless right now being out here and having to fight in this war.
Yeah,
But at this point, like dying would kind of just put me at peace because
yeah,
I hate waking up in the morning.
yeah, and
Is
basically
like
being
the
like,
vibes you're getting
yeah,
from this.
basically being like, you can cut me down now, but like, what is that gonna say about like, what are people gonna say about your sister when they find out why you cut me down? He's like,
Mm-hmm.
he basically like, he's like, you could just let me go my path, and I'm gonna die anyway in this fight because there's, he's like, there's no way we're winning against these dragons. we're all gonna
That
die.
was a
So
great point.
so like
Wayne like threatens to reveal it, and Kristen's like, "What is that going to do to your sister, dude? Like she's going to get tarnished heavily
yeah,
for this too."
and he's like she broke no oath. Like it was after Viserys' death. Like yeah, it might be like looked down upon for like her having sex with someone while not married with them. But like he's like this does more damage to just like her like legacy, and also like you're not like he's like I'm already like down as far as I can go. I want to die. So like how much are you really gonna do to me?
Right.
And then we get the mud fight, kind of,
Mm.
which once again kind of pointless. Thailand is clearly losing, and then he gets one good hit on Lohar, and then
Nice
smacks her.
backhand.
Yeah, nice backhand. Makes her bleed, and I think this is kind of just all she wanted was for him to make her bleed, and be like, all right, because like,
Gross.
as soon as that happens, as soon as that, I knew it was gonna come. That was even worse, probably. Oh god. But I think it's kind of just like her whole point. Like she's like, I want someone to best me. I just want someone to make me bleed, so I know that they can fight. This way, I'm not like
Mhm.
sailing with like a complete like problem. And then so
Yeah.
like, this fighting ends, and she gets up. She's like helps him up. She goes, "Have you ever eaten the flesh of your enemies?" To which he's like, "I have not, and I would not." And she
No, no thanks.
gives him a good jest and says, "Oh, would you deny the hospitality of my house?" All upset, and he's just like, And then she's like,
Clearly
"I
a jest,
jest."
Ryan. Clearly a jest. She was
Yeah, I didn't.
jesting hard there.
I understand what they're trying to go with this scene. Just didn't think it was funny.
It's a jest. A
I think
jest.
I think it was a little bit too much on like making her like cringy. I was like, you could not
It
do it
is.
that far.
Yeah. I mean, no good joke you have to announce as being a joke
Yeah,
like multiple times.
I think it would have been funny if she just started to laugh.
Yeah. A jest. That cracked me up. I love the word jest for jokes.
Uh, yeah, but then we get pouty Jace, just just sitting there all, but he's not pouting.
He,
Definitely not pouting.
he was reading, Rye. He was 100% reading. He's mastered the art of looking over a book and still intaking all the information
Yes, it didn't look like he
while
was reading
speed
much.
paging
Yeah,
across a book. Man's got a photographic memory without even looking at things.
must be a really big picture book because I don't
Yeah.
think he was reading there much.
He's not getting much information there.
But
But wasn't even trying to like literally was turning pages being like not even looking down at the book. But yeah.
we get
Great
Bailey kind
conversation.
of just being like, oh, like stop pouting. That's not befitting of a prince. He's like, I'm not pouting, and then kind of just like talking. Like the commoners with dragons. He's like, what does that make us then? She's like, well, it doesn't make us commoners. Like you're not
Mhm.
one. He's like, oh, well, that's much to talk. Like you know how like who I am. Basically like saying like, oh yeah, I'm a bastard. Like I'm different. And she's like, no, like it's not like them having dragons and you having dragons. It's not what makes you you. Like what makes you you is like what you do. Like
Right.
you like other people can't diminish you. Only you can by how you think of yourself. So like if people can say all they want, but if you go out there and like you stand by your mother's side and support her,
Show your
you're
worth.
yeah, you're only like you're the heir to the throne, and if and when she gets it and then dies, you take the throne. Like you are then going to be a king, and then what are people going to say then? Like
Hmm.
just do your duty and kind of like do like be who you actually are as a person, not just like these commoners getting dragons doesn't bring you down.
Right. You're
Uh,
still gonna be the one that's being king in the end if
yeah.
all goes the right way.
And then we get short Reyna scene, but we're skipping that.
Mm,
We get right to
covered.
Tylan singing at the feast,
Oh God.
which sounded terrible. And I've heard that apparently the actor himself was kind of a little afraid in this moment because he also doesn't sing, so he's a little like
Yeah.
anxious.
Yeah, he killed it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, killed it for like what they're going for. Lohar is the only one that seems to be happy. She's like all clapping, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, good job."
I
Uh,
don't honestly. I don't like this character at all. Like the acting seemed real weird to me.
yeah,
Like I just seemed real cheesy, but like all just like her facial expressions. I like was just so out of it whenever she was on the screen. Like just it was not a fan of the character.
yeah.
The
But
lines I didn't think were delivered great. Just really overall not about those scenes. Like I said,
yeah,
I'd be happy if they cut all that out and we just didn't have a character that like tell me that he assembled all the pirates,
what's like
tossed
I
them the stepstones.
I liked like the first scene, like when we meet her, but then like these second two, I kind of like fell off. But like that, this is when we like get like oh like uh like she raises a toast, and he's like, oh, like we'll leave for the goal tomorrow, and then Thailand kind of does a toast of friendship, and everyone's like, yeah, okay, not
Hmm.
really that cool. And then finally, which I forgot to mention before, she kept getting his name wrong the whole time. She
Yeah,
called him
Tywin, I
Tywin
think.
first, which was kind of funny because we find out his ancestor Tywin was very
Hmm.
important in Game of Thrones. Also calls him Tymon and Tyrod. And then finally,
Tyrod Taylor.
yeah, that was which some people have thought is that like a nod to Tyrod Taylor because apparently George R. R. Martin or someone is like a fan of I feel
That would be amazing.
like one of the, like the Giants or whatever, so that or like the Jets. And like, wait, is that actually like, did he write that in the book or whatever because of that?
So Daniel Jones is fighting
Yeah.
for our alliance.
But then this is when we kind of after that she's like, oh, like you're handsome or whatever, and like she's like, I wish to have children by you, and then he's like, you wish to have children by me, and she goes, I want you to
Indeed.
fuck my wives. To which he goes,
Yeah.
well, how many wives do you have? Then it cuts off.
Hmm.
So maybe she has two, maybe she has four, maybe she has nine. Who knows? But
Who
apparently he's gonna
knows?
have a fun night.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I actually not a big fan of that. After that conversation, yeah, we had Team Black's first full I thought I initially said it was a full council meeting, but they're really just having
That's
dinner.
it's a pasta
It's
dinner
a
before the
feast.
game.
Yeah, it's a night before big feast. Um, Old Town and Lannisport must be subdued. She's preaching to all of them, saying that, like, hey, I thought that getting these dragon riders was gonna make them surrender, but that's not true. Aemon went out and burnt the shit out of Stormpoint. So the next move is Old Town and Lannisport needs to be subdued. They're the two like I think control zones or powerhouses. I forget what she calls them of the Greens army. Hugh and Bela, not a fan of this plan. Immediately go to what, like, you want us to destroy the castle? What about like all the innocent people that we're gonna just set ablaze for
Hmm.
really the fight of just the leaders? Fair point, but Battle of Dragons, that's how these things normally will happen. I mean, Eamon just did it. She
Yeah.
just reported that to you guys. Adam asks, what about Vagar?
But
Which,
I mean,
oh,
before that, Jace kind of does take her side and was
oh yeah,
like he's like we kind of have to do this, and kind of the idea is like, oh, like you have to kill some innocents for the greater good. Like doing this will
yeah,
save more in the long run.
right. Jace does what Bayla said,
Yep.
but
Stand. Yep.
going against her on
Yeah.
this one, which was kind of ironic. But yeah, Adam then comes in with, what about Vagar? Rhaenyra says, we have many dragons. She is but one. I think we will be able to defeat her with our how strong a force we have. And Ulf immediately chimes in like, me and Silverwing will take Vagar out ourselves. She's a real doer, that Silverwing,
Yeah.
like just boasting. Um,
And then
so
he's like
and
even
he's like,
if
oh, like, even though some of us, like, we're not scared, even though some of you are, and like looks at Adam, and Adam comes in hard with, there will be time enough to see which one of us is a coward.
yep.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful, Adam, and like looks directly back at him and just delivers that punch. It was awesome. Definitely Team Adam over
Yep.
Team Wolf right now. He's the best of the
Yeah. Adam
as
seems cool.
as as dope as Hugh and Vermithor combination is. Adam is the most likable out of the three of them by
Oh
far.
yeah. And then Ulf
And the whole, like,
calls.
after the end of the dinner,
Well,
do you have something else that Ulf says?
yeah. Well, Ulf the whole time has been calling for more
Oh
birds, more
yeah,
birds. He wants more
right.
birds to eat, and basically like I mean, which apparently like all the people in the scene were just eating tiny bits, but apparently Ulf's actor was actually eating all the quails, and apparently he ate 30 while filming these scenes because they did take after take after take. But basically, Ulf's like yelling for more birds, and because like Rhaenyra also tells them like, oh, like if you like serve me well, I'll make you knights, and
Right.
then like she kind of like she's like, hey, like you kind of a knight should be courteous at the table, at like the queen's table, and Ulf says,
Mm-hmm.
best make me a knight then. And then Jace says, "You forget yourself, friend," because
Loved it.
Ulf had called him a friend earlier, and basically just like, once again scaring him. But Ulf just kind of scoffs this off and goes, "You guys all need a sense of humor."
Yeah, all would benefit from my sense of humor, which just a classic. Like, you're fucking around way too much in a
Yeah,
serious setting, and now you're like, oh well, if you guys had a sense of humor, this would be fine. Like, nah, dude, like, kind of like
yeah.
draw it back a little bit, refrain yourself.
And all this like big talk where like he's like, "Oh, like we're not scared, we're gonna do anything." He's like, "You're gonna be the one that's scared." Like I really think, oh, we're gonna see Ulf be the one that turns tail and runs away.
Yeah.
Like I think he's gonna be the first one to fold.
I have no confidence in Ulf
No.
in a war at all. Like, dude's not like he's all talk. He pretty much was almost all talk and never even came to Dragonstone. So we've seen him want to back out several times because
Yep.
because of his high school football knee injury.
Yeah, I wish Jace
But
would bring that up. Like, oh, I heard you. I saw your Max Preps report. I heard you got an injury back in the ninth grade. What happened to that?
yeah, I saw your film. You used to be a real pro. But the after this whole conversation, we have the Maester for the Blacks come in and deliver a letter from Raven to
A
Rhaenyra.
letter
Which
from Raven.
a letter from Raven, a letter by Raven to
Go.
Rhaenyra. That is what we would assume. Oh, yes, you find out. It is Simon Strong writing about the treachery that he believes is afoot in Harrenhal.
He fears treachery.
If it's treachery.
She
But
asks Adam to follow her instead of Jace, which Jace kind of like starts to get up. Even when like the note comes, he's like starting to get up, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not wanted to hear it, okay." And then like she's like, "Adam, come with me," and he's like, "Wait, what? Why not me?"
yeah,
Which like it's still kind of just like, I think one of it's like maybe like let's take one of the new ones around to kind of like show them how it's done, and also like, Jace, you still like you can't go because like if something goes bad and like your
yeah. Let's
like your
send the
uncle
queen
like
and the heir to
yeah
on a mission together. Like, why
yeah
don't we keep one of them back in the
well
stronghold of all their dragons?
because like one of my first thoughts was like let's keep one of them here with the other like dragon bastards because like if we all leave then what do they like then they might just like fucking do some weird shit and say oh
Yeah,
like they're the charge like they're the ones in charge with the dragons like no I need to leave you here with Bela and Moon Dancer and um I keep forgetting his name is it Tyrax
who Jace's
yeah
Vermax.
Vermax but it's like I need to keep you two here to watch over Hugh and Ulf so that nothing can go wrong.
Right,
But like,
and someone's got to be in charge.
she doesn't say this, which I wish she would have as she's walking out. Like, hey, I'm going, Jace, you're in charge. Like, make sure to go show them around and like talk to them about dragons. Like, I wish it was like she vocalized like, hey, I'm leaving you here to be in charge because I trust you.
Yeah, Corlys is out getting his bastards together. I'm leaving. So like, you're the next in command, dude. Like you can't follow me around and everything.
Yeah.
Someone's got to be back here and to be in charge.
Then they leave, and we get the vision scene where Alice is sitting on Damon's bed. Um, really weird kind of scene where she's just sitting there, and he wakes up. He's like, "Do you never sleep?"
Yeah, don't you sleep, witch?
And she's basically, I'm going out to the God's Woods, and
Mhm.
he follows her, and they walk up, and we see a man-like creature with antlers, which I've heard apparently these are called the Green Men that are basically supposed to be protecting the God's Woods that's in the middle of the God's Eye Lake, which is like basically right next door to Harrenhal,
Mhm.
and apparently like no men are supposed to go there, like it's kind of just like sacred, you don't do that. And apparently these are the creatures that are like have been living for like millennia, taking care of
Yeah,
this area. And
I think it's supposed to be the green men, and there's supposed to be some of the children there, right?
yeah, I think so. I think yeah,
Children of the
the
what is
forest.
there? Children of the forest, right? Gotcha.
But Damon, I think he's just been so like he's seen some of these visions, he just pays no attention, or like he looks at it, but he doesn't say anything. I think he's kind
Yeah,
of like he's like, well, Alice didn't see it, so I'm not bringing this up. I'm not like getting affected by this. He's been kind of punched down. He just doesn't
he's
care
going
about
numb
that.
to it
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Um, and Alice asks if he wishes to learn what is given to him, and says that today he is finally ready to learn the bigger things of play. Puts his hand on the tree, and like the blood like sap drips down. Maybe it's Sir Willem's blood that got sucked into the tree. Who knows?
Who knows?
But we see the vision starts with like Ty said, Brynden Rivers, who is a three-eyed raven, and he's known as the Blood Raven because he has that like raven-like birthmark. This is the three-eyed raven we saw that was like the one right before Bran.
Hmm.
So he was the old man in the tree that Bran kind of took over for.
Yeah.
So we get him. Then we get a warg into an animal running up to the undead army and a White Walker. I don't think it's a Night King
Yeah, I can agree with that.
because he
Right.
doesn't have like the horns and stuff.
This animal, were you leaning to which I was, where that is a dire wolf running up,
That would be my
based on
first thought, yeah.
based on the growls you get
And like
and
the
the
level of
just
like yeah.
the running pattern? I assume this was a dire wolf. Might be hinting at the fact that our warg boys are the Starks looking at their wolves.
Yeah, I
Who
mean
knows?
that would be kind of cool. Cuz like that would also like pay note to like Kragan being like, yeah, like no, like this blocks out like death. Like it's not just like we there's something he didn't tell Jace more of like what was actually out there, but like it kind of makes sense if like they know these things are out there and that's kind of why they're doing this. That
Uh-huh.
maybe that's like some like knowledge that kind of gets lost over the years as we get to like modern day Game of Thrones. But then we get a dead dragon as Daemon's kind of like I don't know what dragon. I wasn't really able to pick out what dragon that
No,
was.
I
It didn't
I
look like
paused it.
Caraxes.
I paused it and really tried to look at it. I would not identify that
Yeah.
as Caraxes.
No.
But yeah, it's a dragon and some human corpses.
Yeah.
He's just walking
He's
over here.
basically walking through like a sea of blood and bodies, and then he falls into a lake. Um, and then we get like I forget what the comet's called, but it's a comet. Daenerys sees this comet when she's over with the
Yeah,
Dothraki.
I just wrote the meteor that is the
Yeah,
blood comet.
yeah, something like that. But then we see the 3 dragon eggs in the fire, and then we get like the freshly hatched dragons with Daenerys like sitting naked, basically like how she was when she came out of the fire with like her 3 newly hatched dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And he walks up to Rhaenyra sitting on the throne, and as he does that, Helena's behind him and says, "It's all a story, and he is but one part in it, and he knows his part." Or he's like, "It's all a story, and you are but one part in it, and you know your part." And then, as he's about to get
Know
out
what
of the,
you must do.
yeah, as he's getting out of the vision, we kind of like we just see his face like looking at the tree, and then she just says, "You know what you must do," and then it cuts directly to Helena looking out over King's Landing, which
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's kind of saying she is actively telling him that.
I wrote it down. It really makes you feel like she was directly saying
Yeah.
that to him, and it wasn't all a vision of his. She was saying that through his vision.
And I almost like wonder if like she started seeing stuff and somehow contacted Alice Rivers and was like, "Hey, wake Damon the fuck up. I gotta show him something."
Mm. Like a
And like,
message came through, and she delivered it to the two of
yeah,
them.
or like maybe like she might have just like mainly delivered that part of the message to him. But
Yeah,
like I heard apparently Ryan Condal said like it's kind of like you should probably think that like Helena's abilities are kind of evolving, like as like she's because like with like mediums and stuff like that, like when they experience trauma, a lot of times like they end up getting stronger in like what they do,
yeah,
like the psychics and stuff like that. And like it's like we should maybe think that with all she's gone through, she's getting stronger and getting better abilities. Where like she now can really see fully what is going to happen, and like get more of like a better picture rather than just like random sentences that she spews off.
yeah. And like she can like, well, I mean, she shows it here. She doesn't have to speak in like riddles that are
Yeah.
clearly nobody catches on to. She tells Eamon directly, which I'll get
Yep.
into right now. Yeah. So we end up, yeah, like we said, we end up with Helena looking over a balcony. We think that she was just talking via the vision to Damon. And Eamon comes out and tries convincing her to fight for him again. And she says, "What if I refuse? Are you gonna burn me like you did Aegon?" Eamon immediately gets taken back, not knowing that I mean, she hinted at it, like, was it all worth it a couple episodes ago? But like now she's throwing it all out there, like, yo, dude, I know. And he's like these rumors are such, and then she immediately goes like, I saw it. I know you did that. Like, don't try lying to me, which
Yeah.
was awesome. Just immediately calling him out for it. Wait, I was gonna say so. Okay, she then predicts that Aegon will be king again. He's yet to see his victory, and he sits on a wooden throne, and you'll be dead, swallowed up in the God's eye, and never seen again. Aemon immediately responds with, "I could have you killed," and she goes, "It wouldn't change anything." Just like we
Right.
said, has clearly got a lock on this vision thing
Yep.
because she spits it right out to him. Like how many times you get this in a show, literally calling out so much stuff that's about to happen in the following like episodes/seasons, and like, dude, to fully predict, like, you can
Where?
read into
Yeah.
certain senses where how much you want, but like Aegon's gonna win. He's gonna sit a throne, wooden throne, which there's different speculations on what the wooden part of it means.
I'm gonna guess a wheelchair.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense to be a wooden wheelchair.
wooden throne. Dragonstone, I believe, that has a wooden throne as well.
I don't know if it's
Or Dragonstone or Driftmark, but that wouldn't make
Driftmark
sense.
has like the driftwood throne, but I think
Yeah,
that would make no
that
sense
wouldn't
to be
make much
six there.
sense. I think you could be on something with a wooden throne there. But to say you're gonna die in the God's eye, and no one's gonna find your body, which is just insane. Like that's
Yeah.
a crazy thing for them to throw out about a main character and a powerhouse character at that.
Especially as like his next plan is to go to Harrenhal where the Dragon's Eye is. So like he's like
Right.
basically saying, yeah, you're gonna die like tomorrow when you leave.
Yeah.
So,
That
yeah,
place you're going to is where you die.
which we've also heard that's where Daemon dies. So that's gonna be kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The showdown, we might have gotten spoilers, but
Yeah.
who knows? That doesn't have to be this battle.
yeah, no, yeah, but for Aemon,
It could
it would make sense for Aemon to be the one that would die sooner at least,
Yeah.
because like he can't like if like I mean definitely if the Blacks win, he dies. Like there's no way he can live and the Blacks be the winners.
With Aemon's personality, there is no chance of anything happening for the Blacks until Aemon is dead. Absolutely. I agree.
And with like the way things are kind of shaping up, I kind of feel like he's like 'cause clearly the Blacks have an advantage. So I see him as being like one of the next ones to go down. I mean,
Yeah.
he might get like 1 or 2 dragons before he gets taken down, but I can't imagine he's gonna be up for too much longer.
I hear you.
But then we go back to Harrenhal. Rhaenyra shows up. I love how like she can get there in a day, and it took Alfred Broom fucking 3 episodes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by dragon.
Yeah, no, I understand the differences, but it makes it funny. He's like he
Yeah.
just spent so much time there, and he's
Yeah.
but Caraxes kind of notices him, and like I kind of like I mentioned, like the Twitter kind of found has a bunch of memes where it's like, oh hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. Hey
Get
girlfriend.
me the F out of here.
Because I'm pretty sure like Cyrax is like basically like his girlfriend. Like they like spend a lot of time together when they're usually they got dragons in together. So he's like hey girlfriend, come down here, I'm waiting. But Cyrax
Is that
land.
sea smoke?
What's up? You got a new rider? That's sick.
Yeah. Good for you, bud. He looks
Um,
just like your last one.
he's got darker hair this time, but
Yeah.
looks cool. But Cyrax lands like right on the walkway, and Sea Smoke's just still flying above. I guess I feel like it's probably just like a watch. Like, hey, watch,
Yeah,
make sure no one's
absolutely.
coming. Simon Strong kind of comes down the meter and goes, he's like, I didn't expect you to come so soon or whatever. He's like, but like I will show you what I like fear, like whatever. Takes her.
It's like it's as I fear.
Yeah,
and
that's
like
what. Yeah.
leading her on to believe like I was right. This is bad. This is bad.
And then she walks up. Cyrax perches up above all the guys, being like, all right, don't touch her. I'm gonna kill you all.
Yeah.
And then Daemon kind of walks through the whole crowd, and Sir Alfred Broom is kind of like he looks fine now, but then Daemon walks up and goes, I wasn't expecting you. And she like I forget what she said, but then he ends up going, they are sworn to me, and not a moment too soon. And Rhaenyra says, and to whom are you sworn? And then kind of like backs up, and then Daemon starts speaking in High Valyrian, saying, the world is not what we thought it was. Winter is coming with darkness and doom. There's a little bit extra in there, but basically that's the gist of it. And then she goes, you sound like my father. And he says, I saw it. I saw that we cannot withstand it, and yet somehow we must. And then he goes back to English and says, the realm's only leader, the realm's only chance is a leader who can unite it, and my brother chose you. And then he bends a knee and says, you are the true queen, Rhaenyra. Which the way he says Rhaenyra is, I really like that for some reason. I don't know, I kept like going back and re-listening to it. You are the true queen, Rhaenyra, first of her name, protector of the realm. I am meant to serve you and all of these with me until death or the end of our story. And then all the men follow suit and bend the knee, and Sir Broom is like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This isn't
immediately
good.
bitches out of that scene, like just pieces.
Well, yeah, like he waits a piece until after he's like yeah, and like does a little pregame speech, and he's like, I am out, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
But then Rhaenyra grabs his hand in High Valyrian and says, leave me again at your own peril. And then he responds in High Valyrian and says, I could not, I have tried. And then in English, my queen, which I thought that was kind of cool. He's like, I tried. I went through a bunch of nightmares. I got scared, and now I'm back.
It's been a nightmare since I've tried. Like I do not want to do this. Like I give in. I'm all yours, dog. You got it.
I feel like he's just like so happy. He's like, yes, you can sleep with me in my bed tonight, and I won't be scared. I won't go through these nightmares. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I
Can you at least stay the night?
I get to fuck you instead of my mom tonight. This is sick.
Yeah.
Which I hope that kind of happened. I hope she stayed the night, and she's like, yeah, let's bang one out before this war.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta. You don't know when they're gonna see each other again. which a lot of people are speculating with the way he looks coming out of the
Oh yeah,
Harren Hall
yep,
at the end. He's like, this dude just got laid
yeah.
for sure.
You see the glow on him. He's got his armor on. He's like, yeah, this is cool. I'm all good to go.
Yeah, I'm back, baby.
Then we get the Queen Who Never Was is about to depart. Corlys and Alan share a conversation, and Alan's like, "Oh, like you called for me?" He's like, "Yeah, I just want to like leave on good terms with my first mate." And he's like, "You need to be a little bit of a better leader. You need to inspire these men. I've heard you're kind of quiet and not really a leader type." And Alan's like, "Oh, like I'll try and be better. I'll try and like fix myself." And Corlys is like, "Oh, like I'm just trying to help you." And then,
But Alan does throw out, he's like, I never asked to be a
yeah,
leader, right? Like,
yeah.
you did kind of throw this at
Oh,
me.
yeah, I missed that part. But Corlys says, "I'm just trying to help him," and then basically tries to like just shoo Alan off, and Alan like turns around and goes, "I didn't ask for help. Like you
Mm-hmm.
offer help after all these years of like all my suffering. Like I had to like struggle to get where I am. I had to like sell. I had to go and like fish and sell my fish as I got to watch you and your son walk by in these like nice robes with like a fur wrapped around his neck." And going and buying sweet meats as like a treat after dinner that he gets to eat as I'm struggling. And now only
Mm-hmm.
after his death and your heir's death do you now try and acknowledge me.
You spread the crumbs of your love out to
Yeah,
me. Like, which, yeah, it's 100%. Like, what, just because you lost the kids, just because you lost the kids that you actually cared about growing
yeah,
up, and I'm the only ones, like me and my bro are the only ones you got left, that you have literally tossed to the side and watched us grow up in like starvation and fucking struggle for food our whole lives. Now that everybody else in your like life and your family is dead, now you want to start helping us out. Like, he's
yeah.
like, dude, I made it this far without you. Don't do me any favors.
And I think like he would have had an easy way to kind of like respond. Is just be like, hey, I was afraid of like people hating my wife or thinking things of my wife because of this and like all this stuff. But like just like she made me realize that I needed to get close with you guys, and like that was one of her
Yeah.
last wishes. And now that she's gone, I want to act on it and like do right from what I did wrong before.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, we saw like Adam. Well, I thought Adam would have had more of a reaction at like this compared to Alan, but we kind of got like the flip flopped. Because Adam was the one that was more upset in the beginning, and then now Alan's more upset, and Adam's kind of like, yeah, nice, I got a well done from Dad.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think the with Adam, he kind of did do like he did it himself. Like, now, granted, Sea Smoke kind of chose him, but like he did it without help. Really, like
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Adam wasn't getting any favors from Corliss. He got there and
He
got
got the dragon
recognition from
himself,
his
yeah.
dad. Yeah, but Alan is just getting promotions thrown at him, and
Yeah, but I mean,
Corliss is coming at him like, "Why aren't you being more appreciative of me? I'm giving you stuff that many men would dream for." And he's like, "Dude, I don't want your handouts." Like, he snapped on him because he's like, "Dude, why? Like you're like kind of trying to like get my like buy my love, and you don't deserve it now."
yeah, no, yeah, it's true. I mean, like, I think Alan did a good job working by himself to get up to like where he was before, but this promotion being first mate is definitely a big one that he basically
Mm-hmm.
got as like I'm sorry, here's a gift.
Right. It's a huge honor that Corliss is constantly telling him like, you're like, you should be thanking me. Like, all these other people would kill for this position. Like, dude, he's literally being like, I'm the reason you have this, not the shit that you did. I'm the reason I'm giving this to you. And it's like, dude, like I said, that'd rub me the wrong way too.
And then we get but yeah, I agree. After this, we get Rhaenyra. Quick, just small scene. Rhaenyra and Mysaria watching, which I kind of seemed like they were like making like look like the dragons were dancing. So it kind of with like some of the whole theme of this like House of Dragon, like oh like the dragons dance, because like the I'm guessing it's like Vermithor and Silverwing, or maybe two of the new dragons out there like kind of dancing around with their new riders, getting used to it. Mysaria's like, oh, like look, like you did what people thought could never be done. The gods favor you, and Rhaenyra's like, he's like, yeah, but like I'm gonna have to kill all these innocent people. And Mysaria's kind of like, yeah, but you have no choice. Like the Greens gave you no choice to do what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Quick end, and then we get Rhaenyra woken up in her bed by her Kingsguard. Goes down to the library and is surprised to see Alicent standing there, wearing blue, so not green anymore. Green are the colors that she wears when they go to war, but she's wearing blue now. So for her, the war's over, or she wants it to be
Yeah.
over.
She's out. She's done.
Rhaenyra's in her nightgown, so kind of almost like oh, like they're wearing less formal clothes like they used to wear when they were kids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Alicent says she clung to honor in defiance of Rhaenyra because that's what she kind of just threw away and didn't care about.
Right.
her whole life. She like didn't want like all like the duties that she has as a child, and just kind of wanted to go live free and kind of like so she was a little promiscuous with like Kristen Cole and Harvin Strong, and like Allison kind of like hated that because she knew she had to act a certain way because she wasn't the king's daughter, and like she had to do act a certain way to kind of be seen as a good person and stuff.
Right.
Um, she just wants to live and be free apparently, and just get rid of all this plotting and politics and whatnot. She wants to take her child Helena and her grandchild and leave it all behind. And Rhaenyra's kind of like, you can't just like run away from all this that you started.
Right.
Like, what's your
It's too
plan?
late now.
Yeah.
Like, it pretty.
And Allison kind of turns around, starts like biting her nails like she did when she was a child.
Hmm.
And then basically says like, when Aemon flies to Harrenhal or the Riverlands to meet up with Kristen Cole, you come in and we'll open the gates, lay down all the swords, and bend the knee to you, and you'll be seen as a conqueror.
Motherfucker.
And like like then Rhaenyra's like, but what of Aegon? And she's like,
Hmm.
well, like he's crippled, like I'll just get him to bend the knee. And Rhaenyra's like, stop, like you can't keep doing this.
Yeah,
Like
you still cling on to this like dream that everything's gonna work
yeah,
out fine. Like, no.
like like I need to make a statement and cut off Aegon's head and be like, hey, I'm the winner. Like I can't let the
Right.
usurper live and people still respect me. Like I need to do this as a show of strength and a show that I won. And like I say, it kind of seems like it coming from like Rhaenyra's like not necessarily upset and like wants to do that. It's just like I need to do this for everything to work out and like
Yeah.
unite the realm in a way. Like I need to do this to get everyone to follow and back me in this. And basically it makes Allison choose like you have to make a decision. You have to pick. Basically pick your freedom and all these things you want, or but like that's going to come at the cost of Aegon's head.
Right.
And Allison kind of just shakes her head, which I mean also like Aemon would have to die as well, so she'd basically be losing both of her sons.
Right. And yeah, but she clearly wants to run away with
Yeah,
Helena and
I mean
uh
she should probably try and get in Darren too.
I mean, I don't know if Darren's gonna do anything with her. He hasn't. He stopped writing to her once he got of age of getting women.
Yeah, but how much do you really? I mean, I'm not proud of it. But I didn't really call my mom that much when I was in college. Once I kind of got
Yeah,
away, I was like, not that I had any like disdain for my mom. I just kind of like never really thought of it as much as I probably should have.
I think if anything in this situation, Darren would just stay at in the
Old
High
Town.
Tower
Yeah, no,
or Old
I know.
Town.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm saying like he wouldn't. He might have to die. Like he
right.
wouldn't.
I don't. Yeah, he wouldn't have at this moment. He hasn't done anything, so he
Yeah.
wouldn't have to die.
Um. But yeah. And she basically says this plan is going to happen in 3 days. But we already heard before that Rhaenyra said that their plan is to ride out to go fight at these different locations in 2 days. So I'm kind of wondering, like we're rather clearly, I feel like see Rhaenyra make a decision and pick. I mean, she might be able to go ride out in 2 days and then on the third day go into King's Landing. But it kind of seems like she kind of has to pick either wait the 3 days for this to start happening or just do the 2 day plan and go and start this war. Because there probably is. I mean, Allison I feel like clearly she's telling the truth, and like she probably believes her. But there might be some thought of like, what if she's telling the truth, a lie, and just wants me to wait long enough for their plan to kind of get in place?
Or it's a trap at King's Landing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Do I really want to wait long enough for them to set all these plans up for it to
Right.
possibly fall down in the end?
And there's no doing both because if she goes and attacks Old Town, I don't think Allison's gonna be
Yeah,
like, all right, let's continue my plan of helping you out and
yeah,
giving you the
exactly.
throne. Like you're making a choice, one or the other here.
Yeah. Um, and then Rhaenyra kind of mentions how history is going to paint Alicent like poorly, and like, oh, like you were just you're just grasping for power and you lost it. And Alicent's kind of like, I don't care anymore. I just want to live free. I just want to live free and die unremarked. I don't want to be important. I'm getting annoyed at how much people just kind of throw me off. I just want to go and just breathe air freely and do as I wish.
Right.
And Alicent kind of asks her to come along with her at the end. She's like, yeah, just come with us. Kind of almost like Kristen Cole asked Rhaenyra in the first season to be like, yeah, let's just go sell cinnamon and apples.
Did you forget the plan we just made to set
Yeah,
you free? It's me becoming queen. Like, come on.
and
I
kind of,
don't know what it is about Rhaenyra that everyone just thinks they can just take her away and be like, come on, let's go
yeah.
live a basic life and not have you be queen.
Rhaenyra kind of denies her the way she did Kristen Cole. Was like, I have a duty to do.
Yeah,
Like
my place is
what
here.
my path was decided long ago, and I have to like stay on it.
Right.
Um, And then that's basically the most of that's basically it. And then we get basically just everyone getting ready for these wars that are showing
Yeah.
up.
Go through a
Starts
montage at the end here. It starts off with our Dragon Seeds, Ulf, Hugh, and Adam getting suited up and pretty much ready to ride out. We see the High Towers marching with Darren flying over top on his dragon Tessarion,
he looks
who is
sick. He looks sweet
bright blue dragon, which is
with
going to be so
like
cool.
red or like bronze accents. It's
I
sweet.
think bronze spikes. Yeah, he's going to be so cool looking. Rumor has it might be breathing blue fire. Not confirmed, but would be so sick.
But the only thing is, Sunfire was also supposed to breathe gold fire. I mean, most of these dragons are supposed to breathe different colored flames, and the fact we haven't gotten that yet, other than in Game of Thrones when like the one dragon turned to the whites, I feel like we're probably not going to get that.
Yeah, and blue, like gold to regular fire, they could try to hide a little bit.
Yeah, that's not that hard to do. Yeah,
blue fire would be very evident. Yeah. Like you can't. That's not going to be hidden. So yeah, we probably won't be getting that. That's a good point. After that, we get the Starks are walking over the bridge. Do you remember the name of the bridge? I was blanking.
The Twins, I think.
The Twins. Yep, the Twins. Good catch.
But I saw also like apparently like it was like a behind the scenes or whatever, but like in that shot originally they had Craig Stark walking with him, which we didn't see.
Because I didn't think Craig Stark was coming.
I didn't think he was coming either, and I think I don't know if that's kind of why they decided to take that out and not include him. Mm-hmm. Just kind of being like, oh yeah, like he's really not supposed to. Like let's just leave him out.
Yeah, I think we're gonna end up getting like a call for more men, and later on in the battle, and we're gonna get Kragan coming up with more, like because the agreement was get the Greybeards.
Yeah, Greybeards first at least.
Strong ass old men of the North, which he apparently Kragan says is stronger than most warriors that are of age. So
I mean, probably like the North is supposed to be very, very formidable warriors.
Formidable warriors, yeah. After the Starks, we get Jason Lannister and his Lannister men marching. Still got that lion in the cage. Wondering if we're ever going to see that come out in battle. I'd hope so.
That's eaten so many people on both sides.
Yeah, I like they have to the way they're teasing it. But Daemon comes out of Harrenhal like we talked earlier, looking over all the tents, looking like he had a good night.
Yeah,
he came out showered, conditioned, all geared up.
Full armor.
Just a smile on his face, ready to go. Him and Rhaenyra had themselves a night before battle, which you can't blame them for that. After that, we get Tyland Lannister, our boy who was mud wrestling a little bit ago. He's riding on what is to believe to be Lahor's ship. And she comes out, meets him in the front, and it pans out to just dozens and dozens of ships around them. Like
I have a couple complaints with the construction of that ship. The front looked terrible. There was like no railing. I was like, that's like you're falling off that right away. That's not good.
OSHA would not approve of this ship.
The amount of ships I've seen, I was like, that does not look safe. Like not even just safe, but it just doesn't look smart. Like if you're doing a ship naval battle, like probably want a railing there to like hold on to, or like just like I don't know. It just maybe it's like a better boat for boarding because it's just right there and you can kind of like put a plank down and just run onto another boat head on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was a little dumb.
Yeah, they need to put some more details on that pirate ship. It's a pirate ship, for God's sake. Make it flashy. After that, we get Alan and Corlys are getting rowed out to their ship on, I believe, are they called dinghies? The little boats?
Dinghy, yeah.
Okay, nailed that.
Full armor as well.
They're getting rowed out. We then get Rhaena, finally confirming this.
Finally catching the dragon.
Finally finds the dragon. Big ups on her. We get Otto in a cage. First time seeing Otto since Aegon took the hand mantle off him and banished him to head back to Old Town. So Otto's shined on, and it seems by fire. I've heard people speculate Darren came and saved him, and it's a dragon fire around. I personally think it doesn't look like it's like wildfire going around.
Yeah.
I think it's just a lantern.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Could be many people. Like I don't think it has to be Darren, just because there's a fire. But after that, we get Larys and Aegon in the back of a carriage. Clearly, Aegon agreed and listened to Larys, and they are heading towards Braavos.
Yeah, it looks like I get something that's kind of like chickens or something like that. It looked like birds at least.
Mm-hmm. So they snuck out, which puts a real damper in Alicent's
it's another
plan.
Because like
when you're pulling up and her decapitating Aegon. Yeah. Without Aegon there, the deal is off.
Yeah, like
Like
that's
there's
yeah,
literally
because
like she's screwed over. Like that, her being at King's Landing really doesn't mean much if Aegon's still alive out there.
and like because like with that like we know Allison didn't know about that,
Right,
but
absolutely.
Rhaenyra would have no way of knowing that it's not Allison part of Allison's plan.
Fully. Right. Yeah, so that's gonna be an issue later. And then our final shot is Rhaenyra and Allison on two different like balcony slash
Yeah,
cliff, looking out onto the horizon.
and I think there's
Cool, side by side, back to back
I think there's
camera.
like
We get
some pretty um like they try to do this like scenery where like Rhaenyra's like you see her and it's like a little like slot through like the library and like there's a bunch of books and like scrolls
Mhm.
above her, so it's like she has the weight of history on her shoulders that she has to like go and do this. And then we get to see
Right.
Alicent like out in the open world, open skies, open seas, like she's free and
Yeah.
like it's like one person now has the weight of the history on her and the other person is free to kind of go do as she wills.
So do well. Here's the question, right? Do we think Allison is successful?
Well, I don't know, but like the idea is like she no longer has anyone relying on her, basically.
Right. I gotcha. So yeah, that wraps up our season 2 of House of Dragons.
Good
Like I
season.
said, I enjoy the season a lot. I think they took their time with it. They really tried for the character arc and character building. Uh, I put this out there, right? I can give you a chance to vote on this or tell me your opinion. Personally, I think MVP of the season was Aegon. I think had the coolest scenes, was a part of every big moment. Granted, he is the king, so he's going to be a part of them. But like top tier scenes are like him freaking out about the son dying,
I mean, I
and
definitely
just
think
like
I think his actor Tom Glenn Carney was definitely probably the best actor in the season.
right. So I mean, that's my pick for who owned the season. This season 2 goes to Aegon.
Can I pick the Nightmares?
Yeah, that was the peak peak moment of the
I'm not
season
saying
for
peak.
sure.
I'm just saying it was just so prevalent every single episode, just the Nightmares.
Yeah,
No, I would agree with that. I think he was up there. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think he's probably clear the biggest character development this season because most of the other
if
characters
not
kind of just
him,
like stayed in how they were, and he kind of like became a different person.
if not him, it does warrant credit to the absolute downfall of hatred that was given to Chris and Cole. Like that man went from being someone that like I'm not sure how we really felt about the end of season 1. I think we were left off with no. I guess he was kind of a dick in
Yeah,
season
no,
1.
yeah, because like, he killed the Beadsbury guy with like
Yeah,
the
he had season 1, so that did start early, but like became the character that literally I don't want to see at all on
yep,
screen, which is a feat of its own, I
yeah.
would say. I
I
loved
mean,
Helena.
I
Aemon crushed it
yeah,
too.
I mean, I now with the end, like the finale and what we saw, I do kind of have a little bit more of admiration for all that, like the nightmares of Damon and like what he
Hmm.
had to go through. Because like finally seeing that ending where like he kind of almost like sees like the story of like fire and ice or whatever,
Yeah,
like seeing that kind of finale with it and like his like, because in the beginning when he went off, I think he was basically going off and like we saw him like say no like call me king stuff like that, and then like
yeah,
he ultimately comes down and like he's like no I know that I have to follow you, you are the one that's meant to rule. So seeing kind of like that whole development in his mind basically I thought was pretty cool.
yeah.
And like
I
also
think
like
they tied a bow on it real. Like,
yeah,
do I think we needed every scene? No, but like, I'm happy that we did focus a lot on Harrenhal and Damon's
yeah,
like kind of like up and down mind
roller
state
coaster, yeah,
of where he was feeling and what he was planning. Yeah, roller coaster of like really of what how he was like what his plan was for the future and whether he was gonna kind of I guess usurp
yeah.
Vernier or not. And like the way they tied together, I like that final conversation with him and her was awesome. I loved
Especially
that
yeah,
whole scene.
like and like the Invalerian thing where he's like the world is not what we thought, like we can't do this, but it's basically like I've seen this what your like dad also talks about, and I also think you should be the one that does this.
Yeah. So I'm not like I said, we talked about the finale in the beginning of this episode. We talked about how like Game of Thrones is notorious for not doing a big finale and making the episode before and really tying things together well. And like if you're gonna compare it to the way that they always been doing it, I'm pumped for next season. And I
Yeah,
know and I get that we thought this season was going to be the war and we didn't get the whole war. But why the hell would we want everything in the war to happen in the
yeah,
next season and then have the like we're gonna have a whole that everything else after this is gonna be like moving pieces. Like
yeah,
we're they're trying to space it out to give us the big battles, not all in one season, and then
yeah,
like make it the third season all the
yeah,
repercussions. Like they want to spread it out as
yeah.
much as they can and give us more stuff.
I think they also
So
originally wanted to do 10 episodes, and the ninth episode probably would have been another battle, and then the 10th would have
mhm,
been a little bit more moving, and then like before we get more battles in season 3. So I think because
yeah,
it kind of sets up that we could have gotten maybe like one fight, like whether it be like the fight in the gullet with like the Triarchy and Corliss, or maybe like something going on at Harrenhal. Like if we could have gotten one or the other of those possibly, and then the 10th episode being kind of like the movement of the other one before going into season 3. But with the fact that only had 8 episodes, they kind of had to cut both of those kind of off.
hmm but I'm happy with it. I'm
Yep.
excited for season 3. I have faith in HBO and their handling of the stories that they're doing. I'm excited for this next series that's coming.
Yep.
And like, dude, if they think they have enough content to put it at this point in the timeline, like I said, we're already talking about like who we have these characters are descendant like are the great great grandsires of characters we know. We're getting closer. We're gonna have getting the middle, like getting like series far ahead prequel, less far ahead prequel. We're gonna get characters of the descendants of characters we love at House Dragons and uh
Yeah.
grandsires and like of the characters from Game of Thrones. Like it's gonna, I think we're gonna have more connections and more. It's gonna relate more to Game of Thrones. I think it's like I'm excited for the new
Yeah.
series.
So as he mentions, we have a new series. It's the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. It's
Mm,
revolving around a guy, Sir Duncan the Tall, and this is going to fall kind of in between House of Dragon and Game of Thrones. It's probably going to be about 50, 60 years. Actually, no, probably closer to like 70, 80 years before uh, Game of Thrones. There is speculation and rumor because like there's a book about him and stuff like that. But there's speculation and rumors that Sir Duncan the Tall is an ancestor of Brienne of Tarth because she's also a very tall. She's a very tall woman, so it's kind of easy to point fingers, but like that would make sense.
cool.
Another character we get in it is Egg. He's a Targaryen, and if you remember from Game of Thrones when Maester Aemon at like the wall, like when he's dying, he goes, Egg, I just dreamt of like that I was old. Egg is his little brother. So
Oh,
like
very
one of the
cool.
characters in this show is Maester Aemon's little brother. So we
Okay.
might get some younger Maester Aemon as well. But so like that's kind of the timeline we're gonna be going around. I know a decent amount about the story, so I'm not gonna try and talk too much about it and ruin
I did
things.
good this time. I don't know anything about this. I'm gonna do my best. I say that as soon as I get a clip mentioning Sir Duncan, I'm gonna probably like it and go deep dive into it and ruin everything for me. But it's like I said, as of now, Ryan just filled me in on information I didn't know about. I'm very excited.
Yeah. And I think this is gonna be. We kind of talked about it. It's at the very least it's gonna be way less dragons in the show, so they're going to have more budget on like writing and like costume design with like because like also if we're following like a knight, they're probably gonna do a bunch of cool artwork and cool like designs with like the armor because
Dude,
like a lot
sword
of
fights.
and like a lot of
Like,
guys like in like a lot of the writing in Game of Thrones like people have like these elaborate and ornate like helms and armor that like
mm-hmm,
some like House of Dragon like the Dragon Keepers were supposed to have these like this ornate armor that they wore, but they kind of cut that out because they didn't have enough money to spend on. They're like, oh,
mm-hmm,
if you want to do these like big dragon fights, we can't spend money on these armors. So we kind of have to make them wear rags. But with a
right.
show like this, that's basically where all the money is going to be spent. So it should be
Yeah,
cool. So that's
should
in
be very cool.
2025, and then House of Dragon in 2026. But I'm sure we'll figure out a different show to watch before then to kind of do the same discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
guess
We can try. We'll come up. We'll talk amongst each other to try to come up with some options. Like I don't know if there's many series starting now or starting soon, but like we could find one that me and him both haven't watched together.
well,
We just
The Last of Us is coming out soon, I think, isn't it? Season 2. I know I saw a trailer
that's
drop
next
for it.
year, I think. That
Oh,
now's
I
a drop
saw
for
I saw a trailer
25.
popped up. I didn't know when it was actually coming out, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that was all discussing everything that's coming in 2025.
Oh, well, that's
I know the Penguin is coming, I think, near the end of this year. The Batman spinoff.
Oh, I'd be down to watch that.
Yeah, so that'd be one. We'll discuss it amongst ourselves. We might try to throw a poll out there, so keep an eye for that. And I appreciate you guys tuning in for our reactions.
Before, I don't know why I keep forgetting to do this in the beginning of the episode, but remember, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe, leave a comment. If you're on Spotify, follow and give a 5-star, and then all of our socials are right there. YouTube, the Bell Ringers Pod, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, Bell Ringers Pod, and Spotify, we're the Bell Ringers Pod. Please go follow us, reach out to us, comment, give us your feedback, anything that helps. Tell your friends.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys.
See you. Well, yeah. See you when we figure out what we're gonna watch next.
Yeah. All right. See you guys.